Good evening, friends. So it's 8th of Jan in 2026, and it's 4 minutes past 6 in the evening here in Lucknow. Uh, so today's topic is pronunciation. Okay. Now, how important is it to have good pronunciation? Okay, be it any language. It's not just about English, but it's also about any other language: Hindi, Bengali, Spanish, French. So, pronunciation is, in my opinion, an integral part of the language, and that is why it is a very important aspect to have, a very important aspect of the language, and one should definitely have very good pronunciation. Here, there is a difference between accent and pronunciation. Though both go kind of directly proportional, both are like directly proportional to each other. Accent is something like how you pronounce the words and how you sound is, and that shows where you come from. For example, we say that he has a French accent. He's speaking in English, but he has a French accent, or he has a Russian accent. Okay, so yeah, pronunciation and accent are related, but are different things. Okay, so why is it important? Does it mean that you have to sound more like a native speaker of English language? You have to sound uh, excuse me. So you have to sound more like an American or a British or an Australian? No, I think that is not required. You can sound the way you normally sound and still have good pronunciation. If you are an Indian, you don't have to necessarily speak like an American. Okay. So while grammar and vocabulary, okay, these are the skeleton and muscles of language. So, but pronunciation is the voice that brings them to life. Okay. So pronunciation is very important. It's not necessary to pronounce each word like a native speaker, because when we, I think I have talked about this in another video that uh, for example, there are different counties in England. English language has originated from England, ideally. I mean, that is what one would normally understand, right? So there are different counties, like we have districts in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh. So they have counties, and someone from Yorkshire, which is most probably in the north of England, they have a different way to pronounce things. For example, there is a word called cricket, okay, or there is a word called rubbish in conventional British English. They pronounce it as rubbish. Okay, we have always pronounced it as rubbish, and there are other people also in England who pronounce this same word as cricket or rubbish. But there are certain people. But in both the cases, we see that they are native speakers. So which one would you follow? Okay, they pronounce the word cricket as cricket. Okay, so but why pronunciation is important is because when you have good or neutral kind of pronunciation, the other person with whom you are speaking will be able to understand it more clearly. And that is why it is important, because when you speak, you want to be heard, listened to, and understood. But if your pronunciation is not very clear, it will be difficult, right? For example, especially I'll take the example of some Indian examples. Okay, in the northern part of the country, okay, they there is a word called school, where we go to study. Okay, and many of us pronounce the word school as sakul. So when you are speaking to someone who's not used to hearing this as Sakul. Okay, for example, you're speaking to someone from Thailand, okay, or maybe United States or any other country. So when you say Sakul, so that person may not be able to understand. Similarly, similarly, if we take eastern part of the country, okay, we have a word called voucher, but that the people there, I also come from the eastern part, okay, so people tend to pronounce it as voucher, okay. So when you say voucher, the other person may not be able to understand, okay. Other person, as in like a person who is not used to hear it this way. So that is the reason why pronunciation is something which is very important. So it is good to have neutral pronunciation so that everyone understands you. So I think that's all for this particular topic. We will come up with more topics in the coming videos. Thank you so much.